Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. We are featuring our regular contributor, CEO of CCP Digital, Chris Pulley. And today he is joined by his good friend, Sir Lord Travis Wright, co-host of the Bad Crypto podcast and the Nifty Show, both podcasts that explain the latest trends and innovations in Web 3.0. He's also the co-author of Digital Sense and recently was named one of the top 7 Web 3.0 keynote speakers. Today, we are chatting all about NFTs and the main things that you need to know about them. We'll also chat about the future of NFTs in commerce overall and what it means for identity and authentication. Now, if you're already running a successful business, you may be wondering why you'd want to get into the NFT space. The reality is that you ultimately may not have much of a choice. Web3 is on the way, and in many ways, it's already here. NFTs are part of Web 3.0. So let's take a moment to talk about what Web 3 is. With Web 1, the initial phase of the internet, people could read the information online. It was literally called the information superhighway. There was little interaction, some ads, and if you were savvy with a search engine, you could find what you were looking for. But that was about it. The next phase of the internet, Web 2.0, is the phase we're in now. It's much more interactive, and people are also doing more than just reading content. They're creating the content, but they're making more money for the platforms they're creating the content on than for themselves, and that's key. Now, with Web 3, content creators will own and monetize their own content. Essentially, they're moving away from using someone else's platforms to build a presence to owning our presence and their own identity online and taking charge of it. In addition to blazing the trail of Web 3 and the metaverse within the NFT space, businesses and creators can take advantage of the potential of NFTs to build a more loyal community than ever before, because NFTs grant ownership to community members. And those people are much more likely to evangelize and advocate for that business or creator. And here to chat some more is our regular contributor, Chris Pulley, and our expert at hand, Sir Lord Travis Wright. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you finally after all of these years.
Nice to meet you too, Travis.
I don't know. Time moves fast in Web 3.
You know, it either moves very fast or stands completely still. Travis, so excited to have you on. Let's dive right in. Okay, so let's just say I'm interested in developing an NFT project for my business. What are the top critical elements to really making an NFT launch a success?
Well, I would say this is like, for one, you got to do analysis, see if it's relevant for your audience, right? If you go through and you figure out who your customers are, is this something that's going to resonate with them now? Because sometimes, you know, there's these bright, shiny objects out there, and they're not always necessary that you got to jump in immediately, right? Depending on your, like if you're a plumber, let's say, you know, up in New York, you're doing some plumbing up in there, you know, you probably don't need NFTs, right? But depending on your audience, right? If they're gaming enthusiasts, or if they're maybe a little younger, right? Sort of millennials or Gen Z, then you're going to want to find ways to weave in, you know, some of this stuff for them, because it's interactive, right? They're used to these interactive sort of experiences, and NFTs can provide a lot of that. They can provide loyalty programs that are really cool, because if you have this in your wallet, it can unlock a lot of different things. And I think before we dive into how would you launch an NFT, you got to really sort of understand what an NFT is. So an NFT is really a smart contract. It's a smart computer that you can program to do pretty much anything. They're not just cartoon JPEGs, right? You think about it, you're like, oh, I saw there's an ape, and there's these cute cartoon animals. Like, it's more than just that. It can be audio, video, images, text, links, AR, VR, 360. It can be geo proximity based. It can evolve. It can unlock over time. You can just provide really cool experiences. Like maybe you go to a concert and you're like, hey, if you had this NFT in your wallet, we're going to drop you the set list for tonight. And then you get oh, if you have this, then you get to come backstage and, you know, do a meet and greet. So it's like, they really are like, if this, then that, right? Sort of a programming sort of code. It's like, you can do cool stuff with it.
Yeah, and it's true because I guess this when designing art and thinking about the art that's also going to appeal to your target audience, an interesting concept brought to mind is, of course, when people are deciding whether to invest in an NFT project, I always say the art is very important consideration because even for Sylvester Stallone's Sly Guys NFT project, which Joel, your co-host, is involved with, the art is inspired by the actor's movie roles. In the vast majority of his films, he's an action hero, guns a-blazing. So that's the art, and it's inspired behind what appeals to his fans. So to your point, yeah, that is extremely correlated. I'm going to move on to something else now for Chris that pertains more about branding here, because last year Nike debuted Nike Land on the gaming platform Roblox, where gamers, play either pre-built games or create their own. That's what Roblox is for those of you that don't know it. They can even dress their own avatars with Nike branded shoes and apparel purchased from Nike Land's virtual shop. My daughter's on Roblox, signaling Nike's move into the metaverse without a doubt. So Nike acquired RTFKT, which is a virtual footwear and fashion company, and they're planning many more virtual product rollouts. This year, the brand filed trademark applications for not only downloadable virtual goods in online realms, but also in relation to the physical spaces of retail stores. Chris, what do you say to this?
Well, it's I almost say typical at this point. We've been saying for the last couple of years, we believe the introduction to the metaverse will be through the advertising budgets of the large corporations, where they can afford to be cool, right? And at this point, a lot of the fun factor is just a cool factor and being where the kids are going, and this generation. The millennial generation, this Gen Z, is really the sought after generation as they're coming of age, and we're trying to understand how they're using technology and what they want. It just is, it's obvious now that the big brands are going to use alternate realities and experiences to address the technology that's available, and that now the Gen Z kids are coming to expect. They want the cool factor, and Nike seem to have had that cool factor for quite a few decades now, and
Yeah.
They're staying on the trend.
Yeah,
And Nike actually purchased Artifact, which is one of the top sort of 3D NFT companies out there. So Artifact was doing some cool stuff. Nike went in and acquired them for millions of dollars, and now they're launching virtual shoes on NFTs, right? And so there's a lot of really cool stuff that's happening in that. Adidas is doing stuff. Puma is doing stuff. So shoe companies really get it. They're in it. They're diving in, and a lot of other brands are starting to dive in as well.
Absolutely. And this brings me to, let's chat, bring your project to market, so to speak, right? We have about 5.5 minutes left in the segment, but there's the financial aspect of any NFT project. So NFTs can mint for any dollar amount you want. You can give them away for free or sell them for as little as $1, but ultimately one has to decide what the right asking price is to bring their NFT project to market. And one of the easiest ways to mint NFTs is on, for instance, Wax, right? Anyone can go into Wax blockchain and create a Wax cloud wallet for free in less than a minute. And the tutorials are pretty simple and easy to follow, really lowering the barrier to access even more. I mean, you have Ethereum, OpenSea, Mintable, all have tools that really let you upload an image and create your NFT and then set a price. But Travis, this feels extremely amateur. What is the real expert advice here? You're going to end this with a commercial break in about 3.5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I really think it depends on, what your product is, what you're trying to accomplish, because, some people freak out about NFTs because on Ethereum, it uses a lot of energy resources, right? And so, and if anytime you need to do a transaction on that, you're having to pay what's called gas fees. Sometimes those gas fees can be so high. It makes it not value. It makes it not, I stepped away from Ethereum NFTs in 2020, 2021, early, because the gas fees were getting so high. I was like, this is stupid. I'm not paying $150, $200 to buy this NFT. Now, hindsight being 2020, I probably shouldn't have been like that because I missed out on the Bored Apes. I missed out on some of the big projects that went crazy. Right. I was like, why am I going to spend 0.02 ETH when at that time when ETH is like $4 or $5 grand? I'm like, that's a lot of money to be spending on this freaking thing. And then little did I know that one Bored Ape was going to go for $250,000 each. I would have paid that $100 in gas fees, hindsight being 2020. But you mentioned Wax. So Wax has done a lot of great projects with companies like Hasbro. Tops really early on launched on Wax. Wax is over 200,000 times more efficient than Ethereum.
Yeah, right.
You can mint 100 NFTs for like $1. Like that's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? I think at one point it was like 1,000 for like $1. Like,
but I mean, is this the way to go about it?
What's that?
Is this the way to go about it? Like, if somebody's really not that well versed on this process, are they just going up there and doing it, or is there a more viable platform out there that exists that consolidates all of these steps and infrastructures so that small businesses or creators can be able to do this in a 1, 2, 3 kind of way? Chris, you can also pipe in on this, but I'd like your thoughts first, Travis.
Well, I think you can. And then so Wax makes it really easy to launch it. It's like you can go on YouTube and watch how to do it, and you can set it up pretty quick and easily. You can easily set it up on OpenSea. But the thing is, if you're launching an NFT on Ethereum, you're still paying the gas fees to set that up the first time. So people pay gas fees when they mint it. They pay gas fees when they buy it, right? But here's the thing. One thing that's really cool about NFTs is the fact that you're getting residual income on those. Every time it gets sold, you get a percentage of that sale coming back to you. So imagine Mickey Mantle, Topps rookie card, 1952, right? There's not very many of them because that whole thing where they dump the extra supply in the Hudson. So those are very rare. Those are selling for $5 million a piece now, those early Mickey Mantle rookies, and Topps makes zero on that. Yeah. Now, if that was an NFT, Topps would make 7, 5, 7, 10% of that. So every time that thing gets sold, every time it gets that sort of commissions built back into that royalty that you get. So digital assets are really cool if you are selling collectibles, if you're selling art, right? Because that thing is sold on the blockchain. It knows it got sold. Well, boom, you just get your kickback because you have that royalty because you're the creator of that particular thing. So there's a lot of value in that. And depending on which place you want to mint your thing, there's like 10 different blockchains you can mint them on now. And we're starting to see some cross-blockchain minting coming out. There's this one project called Omniverse, I believe, where you can literally mint it on Solana, Ethereum, Hedera, HBAR. You can mint them on Polygon. Like it's just like, wow, you can mint them on all of these at the same time and move them around easily. So it's still early. We're still
early stages. Yeah. And I think that as more companies and more research gets poured into the infrastructure of Web3, we're going to start to see a lot more infiltration into the marketplace from companies that are servicing creators and brands, so to speak, in a much more efficient way than what exists out there. But we've run out of time. I wanted to thank you, Chris, for bringing on Sir Lord Travis Wright. It's always a pleasure having both of you on, and I hope you come back and chat with us again.
Thank you. Thank you, Zen.
We'll just have to wait for that invite,
Absolutely. It's already coming. It's already coming. That was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. Definitely check out Sir Lord Travis Wright at traviswright.com. And to hear more of him, definitely check him out at the Bad Crypto Podcast. And of course, our favorite Chris Pulley, check him out at ccp.digital. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CCP Digital, bringing you a view from inside blockchain, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. Introducing the latest Blockchain Heroes series, Retro Rebellion NFT collectible card packs from the Nifty company. Available January 2022. Find out more online at ccpdigital.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. We have Chris Pulley and Sir Lord Travis Wright. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you, Zen.
All right, Chris, the true power of NFTs is providing authentication and facilitating the transfer of ownership. All right, that's a fact. And an NFT can authenticate a physical asset like a 200,000 bottle of single malt scotch or a virtual parcel of land on the virtual real estate platform decentralized, right? It could really be anything. Talk to me about why an NFT would serve as the perfect replacement for paper-based certificates of authenticity.
That's a great question, and it's moving into the more practical side of NFT and not so much the creative and entertainment side. But I've been saying for years, last couple of years, that I believe industries like the title company industry is going to either see their way to managing the technology, or they'll be they'll be a business of the past. Just the chain of title, right? The chain of ownership is a problem that a title company serves, and then also offers insurance against their the title issuance. As properties start to document themselves on NFTs moving forward, you could see there's a direct relationship to an industry that basically manages and ensures chain of title, where NFTs can be able to authenticate that chain of title and eliminating much of that middle resource and investment money, power, everything it takes to run that issuance. So there's a direct example, and I could probably think of a few others.
Of course, it's much easier if you think of it conceptually to fake paper certificates, and ideally NFTs that have been minted on the blockchain will make the process of faking certificates significantly harder. All this should make you think that it's an absolute no-brainer for luxury brands to adopt NFTs. They're definitely going to make a dent in the authentication problem. And really, an NFT is essentially, for lack of a better analogy, a unique item that lives on the blockchain forevermore. And the blockchain is like a database, except that it isn't controlled by any one person or company. It's decentralized and distributed across millions of computers across the internet. So it does make me feel much safer in terms of authentication and ownership. Travis, let's go back
I would add to that real quick.
Go ahead.
I think that it's not just NFTs that are going to be important on physical authentication, but also NFCs. Right, so that near field communication where you can take your phone and go boop, like you use with Apple Pay. I think the combination, we're starting to see the combination of those with NFT commerce, with NFCs built in, is something that I'm sort of working on as well. I don't know there's a whole lot of that out there yet, but I can see that, just the physical interaction with your physical objects in your home to then be able to correlate and connect them into the Web3 space is going to make your Web3 metaverse experience more comfortable to you. It's more customized, right? And so
fascinating.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of that taking that.
Yeah, because and this brings me to the next question I really wanted to ask you. I mean, NFTs really are going to be the fundamental part of the metaverse, right? I mean, of course, there's others, but fundamentally, NFTs are there. And as users,
digital ownership aspect, it's digital asset ownership. And when people go, "Oh, NFTs are just cartoons," I'm like,
right?
It's digital ownership. It's digital asset ownership, provenance, and all that. As Chris mentioned there about the deeds. Digital deeds is basically what it is. And you're listening to this right now and you're gonna be like, meh, but your kids understand that because they're spending all this money on Roblox.
Oh yeah,
all this money on Minecraft, and they don't own any of those assets. So it's like they're not able to sell those for real world money. They may be able to sell them for in-game currency, but not real world money.
Not real world money.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because as users navigate virtual worlds, they're going to be able to pick up items, receive rewards, right? Own things, buy and sell items and services. And just like they can in the real world, right? This is really going to mimic it. But the key difference is that it's going to be traceable and verifiable on the global ledger. Talk to me about how NFTs in the metaverse can improve the value of physical assets in the real world.
Well, that's interesting. I look at it like, how are they connected to real world items? Well, I think the metaverse becomes its own beast, right? It becomes its own sort of world. Like, for example, I got on spatial.io recently and I bought an NFT from Exclusible, and it's a penthouse in Dubai. And so basically that's an NFT and I can walk around inside of it, right? So the NFT itself can be its own little metaverse, right? Now inside my NFT, I can place other NFTs on the walls. People can come to my big, huge Dubai penthouse in the metaverse, hang out. We can watch movies. I have a TV room in there. We can watch movies. It's crazy. It's like, wow, this is its own alternate world. Now, NFTs can be used to display things. I think NFTs are going to be really utilized for access into certain exclusive areas into people's metaverse, right? Where they have their tribe. And it's like you come in, you can sort of, access the portal vortex thing. Got to check your Web3 wallet. Do you have this NFT pass? Yes, you do. Now you're in the world, right?
Yeah.
You can't access this unless you have this NFT. So NFTs are really like in Web3 and in the metaverse, sort of like ownership, but also access and exclusive stuff.
I love it. And merging physical with digital, brands are getting phygital, right? With experiences that are now combining the digital with real world products or shopping in physical stores. And some, like you said, are involving NFTs. So for merchants that sell high volumes, those on the Shopify plus e-commerce platform can now join the company's beta launch to sell NFTs online via the Ethereum. I know it's not your favorite and Flow platforms, but Shopify.
Well, I do like Ethereum. I mean, it's a high value there. It's high value dollars. I just don't like the gas fees, but
the gas fees.
If the asset is more valuable, then I'm okay with that. I learned that lesson.
Yeah, it seems that authentication continues to be the main theme here, because every time we're describing even these different scenarios, it's all about authenticating. So when you think about the metaverse creating value for real world, think about the Nike shoe industry, the black market on Nike shoes. They produce Nike shoes that look better and constructed better than real Nike shoes you can buy for a fraction of the price. Now, if you want
a pair of those Air Jordan 4s like that.
There you go. So now, if you
even know they're not real Air Jordan 4s,
you don't, unless you don't have the NFT that goes with the Nike shoes.
Exactly.
And now
now everybody knows those are fake Air Jordans.
That's correct. And now Nike can authenticate their brand and imagine the just that value creation of proving that when you sell the shoes.
Huge. And Chris, when I read that Shopify was encouraging merchants to experiment with NFTs, which, adds a digital layer to their physical offering, I thought of you right away. I was like, Chris put this in their head, because you have other companies. There's one such participant in Web 3.0. There's a fashion house called Cult and Rain, and the brand launched its animated NFT Genesis collection concurrent with a line of physical sneakers, really ideal for crypto enthusiasts. And that's the only reason why I know it, because I'm on there and I found out about it through Discord. But it's fascinating. Travis, what's going on and you've been talking about this stuff before, Web3 was Web3, before it was even a thing.
Well, we were the very first podcast, we believe, to mention NFTs back in 2017. We've not heard of any other ones, but we weren't calling them NFTs. We were calling them non-fungible tokens. Right. And because that's what they were. It's ERC 721s came out, and that was the new protocol built on top of Ethereum. We've been calling it Web3. I understood blockchain to be Web3 back in 2016, 2017. After I wrote the book Digital Sense, it was like, okay, it was basically, I wrote the book Digital Sense, all about customer experience, marketing technology, social business strategies, and then emerging technologies. And then I sort of just drop the mic. Here's my knowledge in this. Drop it. I'm going over here to blockchain because they're creating value out of algorithms, and nobody seems to understand marketing over here.
Amazing stuff.
And so Joel and I moved over to do Bad Crypto, and Chris was mad. He was like, "What are you doing? We're spending time. We're gonna do it." I'm like, "Dude, no. This is what's next. We're gonna figure it out." Ding, ding, ding. Once he got it, and it was just funny because it was like. You get all upset about me spending time over here on this.
Chris has nothing for love but you, brother. Nothing for love. Okay, we have about 3 minutes left. Talk to me about how you ended up becoming a Sir Lord.
If you are a landowner in Scotland, you get to become a lord, or technically how they say it, a lard. But I don't want to be a lard. That's what my dad used to call me. I don't want to be a lard anymore. But so for $70, I think you can be a lord too. You get 1 meter of land in Scotland, and boom, you're a lord. It's official.
Wow!
I got a land there. It's 1 meter long, big. So I don't even know.
Sounds like an NFT project waiting to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely an NFT project waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I'll go auction off that parcel.
Right. Why aren't they like, you're officially a lord? Here's your thing. So, and then one of the listeners in our show is connected to this it's a principality called Sealand. It's off the coast of Ireland. It's like this, I don't even know what it is. It's this big metal structure out in the ocean, and they've declared it to be Sealand. And so they knighted us. So we are knights.
Wow.
So we are knights. I got certificates on the wall. It's super official.
I'm in
And
the
so
presence
I
of
am
greatness.
Sir Lord Travis Wright, which is better than Sir Paul McCartney or Sir Elton John. So
You're right.
suck it. I am a Sir Lord, which is way more official.
Way more official. All right. And with that, thank you for coming on and bringing a splash of Sir Lord to a moment of Zen.
You think I need to have an accent a bit, though, to be talking like this? It's Sir Lord Travis Wright. He should be talking like this or something, a little more fancy. But he's not so fancy. He's from Kansas City. Not so fancy there.
Do you want to be on Broadway?
There we go.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for coming on, guys. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Zen. Appreciate it.
Definitely check out Sir Lord Travis Wright, Web 3.0 speaker. He's on Twitter at TUBYA, and check him out at traviswright.com. And to hear more of him, check him out at the Bad Crypto Podcast. Make sure you check out Chris Pulley at CCP.Digital. That was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP Digital. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.